My name is Lilly Williams. I'm from Roswell, Georgia, and I'm a chemical engineering major. When I was in high school, I didn't actually know what I wanted to do. I liked chemistry and physics and math, but I didn't know specifically what I wanted to do. And I went down the BYU major list and I was like, no, 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 no. Until I reached chemical engineering and I was like, I like chemistry, I like calculus, and I don't just want to do lab work. So it sounded cool. I did a little research and I was like, okay, so it's not like chemistry, but it is. And then I'm still here 3 years later and I really like it. I'm a member of AICHE. It's the American Institute for Chemical Engineers. So they usually have socials and different networking events, and I'll go to their socials. Also, my friend's the secretary. The most valuable thing I've learned is probably to not procrastinate and ask for help when you need it. I would tell the people in my major, especially freshmen, to go to TA hours. And I'm a TA right now, and I've also gone to a ton of TA hours, so I know that they're a really valuable resource. And you may not feel like you need it, but time is money, time is valuable. And if you're wasting your time on 6 hours on a homework and it shouldn't have taken that long, it would have been better just to go to TA hours. Also, it helps you get to know the people in your major. The thing that helps me be included in the college the most is just getting to know my peers. When I was in my freshman year, I'm not from Utah, I didn't know anyone. So just throughout the past 3 years I've been here, again, just going to TA hours and saying hi to the people that are next to you and, getting their numbers, being like, oh, how do you do number 1 on this homework, stuff like that. It just really helps. And now 3 years later, it's nice to walk in classroom and be like, oh, hey, and know everybody around me.